I live about 30 minutes away from the most surveilled city in America, maybe even the world, and I didn't even know this until last week. And it's probably not the city you're thinking of. I did a poll on my community page. I asked my subscribers which city they thought was the most watched in America. Most of you said New York, some people said LA, and I had a couple people in the comments guess DC and Minneapolis. But very few people chose Atlanta. Yeah, that wasn't my first guess either, trust me. But it turns out that Atlanta has about 60,000 cameras spread across the city. That comes out to about 124 cameras for every 1,000 people. That's on the scale of some of the cities in China. You know, the same China that's the poster child for a surveillance state dystopia, social credit score systems, can't fly on a plane if you jaywalk across the street. Yeah, that's the level of cameras that the city of Atlanta has. I miss when the only thing that Atlanta had in common with China was giant pandas. And here's the part that should bother you. Every single time I go near that city, I feel like I'm moments away from something going wrong. And if you looked at the crime stats, you'd probably understand why. I'm not just painting a bad picture for the sake of it. I've had firsthand experiences. Less than 2 years ago, I went downtown with some friends to grab a slice of pizza. It was supposed to be a simple night, nothing crazy, except we accidentally picked the same night as a major concert. The roads were bad, traffic was terrible, and the parking, once we got to the area, was even worse. Because of the concert, it was way more expensive than usual. I'm talking like $45, $50 for 2 hours of parking. So in the sake of saving a little bit of money, we decided to park further than we wanted to be. And even then, we ended up paying close to $30 to park somewhere that I swear to you was like a 20-minute walk to the restaurant. But in that situation, you kind of have no choice. So we bit the bullet, made the walk, and had a good time at the restaurant. I remember that day pretty well because I had just gotten my windows tinted on my car the same day. So the slice of pizza was kind of like a nice cruise to show off the little upgrade. As we head back to the car from the restaurant, feeling pretty full and tired because of the walk, I noticed it the second I entered the parking garage. My window was smashed and there was glass all over my front seat. And I was just standing there tired and pissed off. At the end of a long night that was supposed to be relaxing, I'm just sat looking at my Acura thinking, really? And I go through my car to see if anything important was taken. I don't leave anything important in the car anyway, but I wanted to make sure. And after looking hard enough, I realized that the person who broke into my car took about $2.25 from my armrest. $2.25. They smashed my window that I just paid $180 to get tinted for $2 in loose change. Instead of cruising home full and happy, I had to wait in that parking garage for a cop to come and take a police report. Waited about 2 hours for them to show up, mind you. And you could tell by the sound in the cop's voice that by the time I was done giving the report that I was not going to hear anything back and that no one was going to be held accountable. Fast forward all this time later and nobody's been held accountable. I'm guessing the case just evaporated into thin air. And this was before I knew there were 60,000 cameras tracking my every movement and my robber's every movement. And it made me think, if there's 60,000 cameras in that city, where are they when somebody does crime? If those 60,000 cameras aren't stopping crime or helping solve it, then who are they for? With this expansion in surveillance, there really hasn't been many benefits that followed with it. Your odds of being a victim of crime in Atlanta is still 1 in 23, but you'll see some headlines painting a different picture, like the one that says overall crime dropped by 7% last year. And that sounds great on paper, but in reality, the stats that show that aggravated assault went up 25% in the same year and that robbery went up 25% in the same year are more accurate. The reality on the ground is that nothing really feels safer. They tell you crime is down and then you have your window smashed for $2. This isn't some new phenomenon either. Atlanta has been consistently ranked as one of the most dangerous cities in Atlanta for years. So we have more cameras, but we get the same danger and it actually gets worse every year. It goes against the narrative that companies like Palantir and Flock Safety will tell you. You know, the companies behind a lot of this infrastructure, they'll say things like camera equals safety, but in reality, it just makes you feel uneasy. So how did we even get in this position? Because 60,000 cameras don't just pop up overnight. Well, it started with a program back in 2007 called Operation Shield, and they started with just 17 cameras. 17 cameras in 2007 would become a network of 60,000 cameras. And the reach and scope of this program is actually pretty wild. The Atlanta Police Department, or APD, has direct access to about 20,000 public and private sector cameras. cameras, and they have a staff of operators that operate 24/7 that comb through all this footage around the clock. But it doesn't just stop at the cameras that the APD has. They also have a program that allows private sector individuals to give the police direct access to their cameras. I mean, this is super fed, but if you're a business owner, there could be benefit. You know, giving the cops direct access to your cameras may lead to crimes being solved faster and may help them connect dots in other crimes. And this can range from ring cameras at a home or CCTV cameras in a gas station. Now, you might have seen the Ring Super Bowl ad where the dog goes missing and the neighborhood cameras track it down and everybody's happy that they were able to work together and find the dog. I mean, look, I get why people opt in. If something happened to you, you would want answers. And after something happened to my car, I honestly understood the impulse to just give up all your rights to have safety. But the more you dig into this program, things start to get weird. A consistent position of Operation Shield and the APD that operates under it has been to never give access to the footage that they record to anybody under any circumstance. This creates a system where they can record you, track your plate, track your every movement, create a profile based on that. If you ever ask to review or see the footage, they'll just deny you every single time and won't have to answer for why. Every open record request filed against Operation Shield and the departments that are under that have been rejected outright. And their reason for this is terrorism or something like that. And when you start connecting the dots, they're not really solving or stopping more crime with these cameras, and they're not giving you access to what they're recording or tracking, then is it far-fetched to feel like they're just creating profiles of you, where you go, what time you leave, what route you take, what you're into, and where you'll probably end up next? And look, I'll tell on myself here a little bit. The amount of times I've been heavy-footed on the gas, speeding through downtown Atlanta, and never got a ticket in the mail, given what I know now, is either a miracle or those cameras just aren't on. 'Cause here's the thing, crime doesn't go down when you surveil people. Crime goes down when they know they're being surveilled. And the fact that you could probably ask most people in Atlanta right now, including me until a week ago, where the most surveilled city was, that'll tell you something. Don't want to deter you. Deterrence would mean less crime would mean less arrest would mean less profits flowing through the private prison systems, which are already way backed up in Atlanta. If you get caught, you're going to spend more time fighting your case than actually dealing with the verdict of it. In a system like they've built in Atlanta, your pain is somebody's paycheck, and those 60,000 cameras make sure there's always a pipeline to get paid. And this model is not staying in Atlanta. With Flock Safety and Palantir wanting to take the surveillance network even further, we're seeing the same playbook spread out to other parts of Georgia and other states as well. You have contracts popping up in counties and cities across Georgia and America with Flock Safety and other AI companies, and the playbook is always the same wherever this goes. When people find out that their community is signing a Flock Safety contract, they usually come out upset, go to the local meetings, protest it, and make noise. This pressures the city to back off, suspend the contract for a review, and act like they've heard the people. And a short time later, once the heat has died down, they will renew it anyway with the same company, basically the same contract, and sometimes with even fewer restrictions than before. And it's definitely happening here. It recently just happened in Dunwoody, where they used the exact playbook I just told you about. They said they would suspend the contract. People felt ecstatic that their voice worked, and right when the hype died down on April 16th, they renewed it, even with safety concerns. Atlanta has a lot of problems, but what it's becoming is a blueprint, and every city after this will get a more refined version of the same system. And you know what? I want to be fair here, because there's an elephant in the room. There would not be 60,000 cameras in Atlanta unless something warranted 60,000 cameras needing to be in Atlanta, and that's a fair point. A lot of the cameras are businesses complying with city agreements to make their areas safer, and as someone who's seen what Atlanta can do to a car window, I genuinely understand why people would want more protections, especially to their business, their livelihood. But my issue isn't with wanting safety. My issue is that this system and what it's becoming. Because right now, what they built with those 60,000 cameras used to protect businesses and people's livelihoods can be very easily turned on the public as a tool of intimidation or political prosecution. We already know this network of cameras has been used to monitor Cop City protesters. And yeah, if you didn't know, they're building a Cop City in Georgia. And these protesters didn't commit any crimes. They were just people who showed up and used their voice out loud. And as things get more dangerous, as the trust between police and communities stays at rock bottom, and the limitations we currently have have on how this footage can be used or accessed will quickly erode. The future they're building, if it plays out the way it's trending, is one where you're punished for the slightest mistake, where you never feel at ease because someone is always hoping you slip up, and when you do, the gears start turning. Your mistake becomes their revenue. The case that you caught is just another one they add to their quota, and the system that you thought was meant to protect you has enslaved you. And if you're the type of person who says, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, the cameras shouldn't bother you, you know, the same people who say the government should be able to search through your computers and files because you should have nothing to hide. Privacy isn't about guilt. It's about the principle that you are a person and not just a data point. This is what the internet and the tech sector has fought for from the very beginning and its inception. And now the internet is being used to do exactly the opposite. When I found out my neighboring city was at the center of all of this, I looked around and nothing had actually gotten better. Atlanta has deep problems, but the root of them is low trust. The police don't trust the people have a hard time trusting the police. Everyone in the middle is just trying to survive in one of the hardest cities in the country to actually make it in. Surveillance doesn't fix that, it never has. I'm gonna say it again, my car got broken into in the most watched city in America. I waited 2 hours for a lagging response from the police. I filed my report and I never heard back. I did everything by the book and still never got justice. So the next time these companies try to tell you that more cameras equal more safety, remember the realities of Atlanta. And before I end off the video, I want to give a huge shout out to the subscribers of this channel. Shortly after I made the community post asking you guys that question, we hit 5,000 subscribers on this channel, which is absolutely insane. I haven't been as consistent as I should be, but I hope and promise to make that change in the time coming, but I will show that rather than keep saying it over and over. But I just wanted to take a second to thank you guys for all the support that you show. I know you're not obligated to watch any of these videos, and the fact that you guys invest in me means a lot. So let's keep pushing. And if you agree or disagree with this video, let me know down below in the comments. I do read the comments. Were you surprised by the fact that Atlanta is the most surveilled city in America and maybe even the world? And are you starting to see some of the same tactics pop up around the city that you live near? If you haven't already, like and subscribe to join the channel. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.